Thanks for joining us this evening. We've got Samantha White joining from Brahma Kumaris Meditation Centre. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, hi.
Nice to meet you.
You too, Bianca.
So where do we start? Tell us about, firstly, tell us about the centre. I understand there's a few around Australia, 40 to be exact.
Yes, well, the Brahma Kumaris has had meditation centres in Australia for quite a while, since the late 70s actually. And so we also have retreat centres as well, where people can book in to do weekend retreats or week retreats. We have 3 of those. And in Adelaide, we're just on the verge of opening a brand new centre here in Adelaide. So we have actually been without our own centre here for a few years now.
We need one here, don't we?
Yes, we do. We've been operating out of our homes and community centres, and whoever will put us up, really.
So this is a community centre. I understand there's free meditation courses and other wellbeing related programs, as you mentioned as well. But so do people end up paying at some point?
No, but they're always welcome to make a donation if they want to. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is.
Because, I think sometimes the price can put people off too, isn't it? Sort of $16 roughly a class.
Yeah, of course it can, because people are trying to pay for everything in life. And I guess we see meditation as something that's so important for people's well-being. And actually, it doesn't matter where you go in the world. There's the Brahma Kumaris meditation centres all over the world. You're never asked for a fee. You can book into the free meditation course, and then after that, you're welcome to use the centre in any way that you want to, because we have the centre open in the evenings for meditation for the public. And sometimes people will do the course and then they just like to come along every now and then, because it can get a bit lonely meditating on your own, and it's nice to join a group. Yeah.
Well, so people can just come in and meditate in a room on their own?
Well, no, what I meant is that once you've done the meditation course, you're then welcome to come to the centre. The centre is always open in the evenings for people that have done the course to come along and continue their meditation practice.
Right.
Because sometimes when we just keep trying to meditate at home on our own, we can lose a bit of motivation, and sometimes it's helpful to join the group again and do some group meditation.
Right. Yeah, because I thought that there was perhaps like a room, like you've got your meditation classes, but then rooms where people can sort of come and go, because you said it was open. So if it's open, what people can come? Is there a library there? Is there other things?
Yes, so there's all those things, because people also live in the centre. It's also people's home. We open it at certain times. But the front part of it, which has a reception area, which also has a library with all kinds of resources, books and CDs and information, that's pretty much open all day, as long as there's someone there, because it runs on a voluntary basis. So as long as there's someone there that can sit in that room, and then the front door can be open and people can literally wander in to get some information. The actual set times for meditation are set times, so they're in the evenings, and we do morning meditation as well. Yeah.
Nice, very nice. Looks like a few of us will want to visit that, definitely, including me.
Oh, I hope so. You're very welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you. Now, I'm just curious about your journey. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got onto this path. I understand you're a vegetarian and you've been interested in sort of seeking the peaceful life and that sort of thing. You said that your parents brought you up to have a social conscience, and your mum was a psychologist, and your family had a keen interest in humanitarianism and the arts. So that's always a good place, a good place to start and spark your interest in a higher awareness, enlightenment. What would you call it? All the above, perhaps?
Yeah, certainly all of the above. Yes, well, it's been a wonderful journey. I guess I really started to be interested in spiritual things and perhaps alternative lifestyles in my late teens. And I had a lot of friends that were artists and musicians, and people that were exploring different things like vegetarianism, because back then it wasn't quite as common, I suppose, whereas now it's very common. So I was part of those friendship groups and was interested in that. And then I met some people who practiced meditation, and I just felt that they really had something that had a certain quality that I felt I was missing a bit in my life. And my life was pretty busy and pretty active. You know, I was studying and I was in the music industry, and I was very, very busy, and it was very, very hectic. And while all of that was quite rewarding, there was something missing for me in all of that. And also found at times that life was very challenging, relationship changes and things that were happening and in my family, or even things in the world would bother me that were going on. And so I really was looking for something that would give me a sort of peace that perhaps wasn't always dependent on external things. And so that led me in that direction. And yes, I remember booking into my first meditation course. This is about 33 years ago now. And it kind of really changed my life, because I was amazed how you could, without really going anywhere, but just through going through some sort of internal process, an internal reflective process, could achieve a very peaceful experience. And that was sort of the beginning of it for me.
Nice. And it is empowering to know that it's all within us. I think that's why I like talking about these topics, meditation and yoga. And, you know, there's more of a need for it, especially the past year or so, as people are seeking, you know, more meaning in life. And, you know, people have got used to their life becoming a bit more quiet and restricted. So I think a lot of people even jumped online at home, did yoga, Pilates, meditation in their living room. And it's really great to know that we have that within us, that power within us. Like you said, you know, we can make that change, find that inner peace within. We make the decision and we can do it.
Yes, it is. It's really empowering. And that's really interesting what you're saying about this increased need for it, and people actively making efforts towards that and finding the information. And because the world can be a bit unreliable, as we've really been finding out in the last year or so. And so the more we can do to empower ourselves, and for me it's about building a stock of peace within, and it's there. It's, you know, just like we were told we had to stock up on supplies and things like that because we didn't know when we'd be able to go to the supermarket and everything. Well, it's the same with inner peace and inner strength. If we can spend that time on a daily basis sort of feeding the soul, really, the spirit, then we've got that stock there, and it will help us when there's a really challenging time, whether it's coming from outside in the world or whether it's just within our own life. It's actually going to be there for us, and it's something we can rely on. And I don't know, just kind of help us weather the changes. That's what I found for my life.
Absolutely. Weather the changes. That's right. Because the unpredictability is always there, and we understand that more now. Globally, we understand that. So that's right. And I like the way you explain it, to have a stock, you know, an inventory of, you know, building up a little bit every day, that inner peace. So then when the unforeseen happens, we're a bit stronger. We can cope.
Yeah, that's right. And as a result of that, we're able to help others, because some people might have a harder time coping. And so if we can stay calm when things are stressful around us, then we can really spread that peace around, because it comes down to our thinking. And thoughts are like drops of energy. They're like vibrations. And you know, you can tell when someone comes into the room and they're in a really angry mood. You can feel their mood, you can feel their energy. And it's the same if someone walks in the room and they're very peaceful and calm, and then that energy spreads out into the atmosphere, and that can be so helpful for people when they're not feeling peaceful, or and they're feeling worried.
Yeah, you're right. And there is something about that also I like what you said, is to, you know, be there for others. I think that's a key thing, isn't it, with this philosophy or this practice of yoga and meditation, and that becoming quiet and peaceful within, is that we can be there for ourselves first and then others. And we need that component. That's a key component, others.
Absolutely. I agree. was we have this lovely slogan in our teachings, and it says, when we change, the world changes. And I think when I was younger, in those younger years, when I was really searching something, that I was very concerned about the world. I could see how there were so many issues, and I sort of felt powerless. I wanted all these things to change, and yet I really had no idea where to start. And deep down, I guess what I wanted was the world to be a more peaceful place. But when I looked at my life and asked myself, well, how peaceful am I? You know, am I really peaceful? And what are my reactions like during the day? And what's my mind doing? I had to be honest and say, well, actually, I'm not really that peaceful myself. You know, I've got all these different issues going on, and I worry about this, and I have fear about that, or whatever it is. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I could start by trying to be peaceful myself. And even that's quite a journey, because we're always challenged. There's lots of situations that are just around the corner where we can lose our peace very quickly, or we can sort of let it steal our peace away. So I decided to, I guess, focus more on the inner world rather than trying to fix everything on the outside, which was really pretty impossible most of the time anyway. You know, especially people as well. Sometimes we have challenges in relationships, and you know, we want people to change, and we think, well, I'll be happier when that person's different or behaves differently. But really, it's very hard to control those things. People are themselves, and they're going to do what they're going to do. So we need to find a way to be a bit more independent of that. That's what I found in my life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, I came across a lady who's got a YouTube channel, BK Shivani, I think her name is, and she talks a lot about that. Oh,
yes.
that she's amazing. And she says, you know, even
Shivani.
our spouse, you know, our family, who we know very well, they know us. We cannot change anyone. And, you know, basically, if there's an issue, we can solve it. She said, do you need two people to solve a problem? She was asking the audience. And she said, basically, no, you just need one person. That's yourself. You can change. We can change anything here in our mind. And she pointed here, and I said, wow, look at that. That's so empowering.
Oh, that's great. I'm really glad you've been listening to Sister Shivani, because she's one of our main teachers, and she's very popular. And she actually came to Adelaide and gave a talk about meditation and spiritual philosophy. Yeah, a few years ago, and she gave the talk at the Norwood Town Hall. And a lot of people came, and we advertised it as much as we could, and it was a wonderful talk. But yes, I find her talks very empowering as well, because it does make you think, well, actually, I do have a choice here, and I can take charge of how I react, and it does start with our thinking. And our meditation is called Raja Yoga meditation. And Raja stands for king or ruler. And what we're talking about is really about taking back rulership over our own mind. I mean, our mind can be a bit like an out of control child, and run here and run there. And with meditation, we can start to take charge of that. But we're not trying to rule over others or take charge of others. It's really what's happening within ourselves. Yeah. And it does work with practice, I've found.
So if you could just explain a little bit about the meditation, is there chanting? Can you just sort of walk us through how this style of meditation is?
Okay, so there's no chanting involved. It's actually, interestingly enough, it's an open-eyed style of meditation. But when you first start learning the technique of Raj Yoga meditation, you don't need to have your eyes open all the time. That's something you can experiment with. But the main reason for that is the times when we most need to be peaceful is often when our eyes are open, like when we're engaging with people or interacting or in our jobs and all of that kind of thing. So we just sit with our eyes rest in an open, restful position. So Raj Yoga meditation is about harnessing the power of thought to produce an experience in the mind or in our soul. So we're not trying to finish our thoughts, or we're not trying to stop thinking. It's very hard to do that because the role of the mind is to think. The problem we have is really the quality of our thinking and how many how many thoughts we have, like too many thoughts. So we're trying to redirect our thinking based on spiritual ideas. So the basis of the meditation is to turn inwards and contemplate ourselves as a spiritual being, a soul, a being of energy, and to think about ourselves as our original state being peaceful. So even though our lives can be very busy and hectic, and we can experience a whole range of emotions because of all the different roles we play in our life's ups and downs and the hats we wear, but in our teachings we say there's an energy that's behind all of that. It's a bit like the silence behind the noise, where there's a beautiful radiant being. And we describe that as like consciousness. Well, there's many words to describe that. You can call it the mind or the soul or spirit. And in our teachings, we teach that the original nature of spirit is very pure and very peaceful. So we spend in meditation, we go within, we contemplate these ideas. I'm a peaceful soul. I'm a being of light. I radiate peace. And we sit in those thoughts, we redirect, and of course other thoughts will come in, we'll think about our day and we'll think about the shopping tomorrow, and that's okay. We just let them come and let them go, because like I said, the mind is going to think. You can't really stop that. But we just gradually keep putting in these lovely pearls of powerful, peaceful thoughts. And eventually the mind calms down and we start to actually feel different. So we experience peace. So that's the first step. That's the journey inwards. And the next step is the journey upwards. And then we connect with a higher source, or sometimes our batteries have run out of power. We can get very tired and we're sort of drained of energy. So sometimes we need to tune into another source where the power is always there and love is always there. So that's when we connect with like a higher source, or the ocean of peace, or a being, or the supreme being. And we just sit there in a sort of loving connection. And that's pretty much it, believe it, in a nutshell. It sounds very simple, but it's the journey inwards and the journey upwards. Redirecting our thinking based on those spiritual ideas. And you can do that anywhere at any time, even for 5 minutes.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
It's the easiest thing in the world.
When we're cooking, you've even heard people saying, when I iron now, I get the tea towel and I make it this beautiful experience. I'm ironing this for my family or for me, and look how I fold it. Really be aware in the small things, putting clothes on the line with the pegs, saying a prayer. It's just good for us. It's good for the world. Like you said, when we find that happiness, then we see the world differently. And then what did you say? We heal the world. Is that what you said? We
can heal the world, and we can change the world.
Change the world. That's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. It's lovely. It really works. The power of positive thinking, and we call the kinds of thoughts related to meditation elevated thinking, because those thoughts really are about spreading peace. And we can be very creative in meditation. Sometimes I'll have meditations where I concentrate on people I know that are maybe having a few troubles and struggles, and I will send them peaceful energy, and I'll think about them as a spiritual being and as a being of peace, and I will radiate peaceful vibrations. And you can do that to the world, like to different parts of the world, like specific parts of the world, because the thinking goes beyond time and distance. It's, we can sit here and we can remember what we did 10 years ago. We can bring it into our mind, or a childhood memory, just like that. So the mind is beyond the limits of time and matter.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, it's sort of, we vibrate as humans. So, the power of prayer, for example, even when things were going wrong in the world, when there were fires in Australia and, a couple of years ago, and they were saying, pray for Australia, the power of prayer. And I remember, like, within a couple of days it rained, and then you've got the pessimists saying, oh, that was just a fluke. And then you've got the believers, or whatever you want to call.
Yeah.
people. No, it was the power of prayer. It was the energy, people praying on social media. I think even well-known celebrities like Pink and singers and actors were making huge donations. So it was a worldwide. People were aware of what was going on, and people sending out that power of prayer. I think, of course, it works.
I believe it works, and prayer is so powerful because they're very focused thoughts, and all our good intentions are going into those thoughts. And for me, I just think that has to have some impact. Sometimes when someone's sick, people will get together and pray over them. And that there's many stories of that working for people. So yes, it's a wonderful resource that we have. And like you said, it's within us. We don't have to go and find it anywhere else. It's actually inside. Yeah.
I'm curious about you visited India 4 times. I'm so fascinated with India and the culture and the philosophies and Ayurveda, and that's where yoga meditation obviously started. But I'm just curious, what was your experience in India? How did you find it?
Oh, really amazing. Each time it was just a wonderful life experience on all levels, culturally, spiritually, learning about history. I just find India has a certain quality that's very unique. And then despite its huge populations and quite some areas, quite adverse living conditions and things, there's a warmth and a sense of community that just pervades everything, and a sense of spirituality as well. Like even in all the buses, or the taxis, people will have their little shrine to their deity, or they'll have some sort of symbolic emblem or something that represents their faith. Of course, you have many religions in India now too, but I just felt that the sense of spirituality and faith was just permeated everything, and I found that quite inspiring. And I just found the people so warm and so willing to serve. They've got this almost like a personality of service. And I think that kind of in a way holds the whole country together, because sometimes it's quite overwhelming. I mean, there were times when I was completely overwhelmed by the population and the different ways people live and poverty and that kind of thing. That was very overwhelming at times. And yet there was also this incredible spirit and energy that was everywhere, very, very vibrant. I hope I get to go back there.
Yeah. Have you got friends there?
Yes, because when I've gone there, I stayed at the main headquarters of the Brahma Kumaris in India, and gradually, over the years have made more connections. And the last time I went, I stayed in someone's house, which was wonderful. And they took me around everywhere. And it's really great when you've got personal connections in India and anywhere really when you travel, I think. Yeah.
Exactly. And I just want to raise a point. You said in your bio that you sent me that you literally became a vegetarian overnight, and I find that interesting because a lot of time it happens like that. I mean, that's happened with me.
Did it?
So I'm interested what happened with you.
Well, I really to this day can't really explain it, because that was about 33 years ago, and I don't really know what happened. All I know was that I was having a conversation with someone who was a meditator and who was a vegetarian, and they were telling me about their vegetarianism, and then they were telling me they were speaking about chickens in particular and how battery hens are treated. And I'd never thought about any of this. I grew up in a family, we ate meat and fish and everything. And so I never really thought about this a lot, although I was starting to look at these different options. And you know what? I just had this strong inner feeling. I can't really explain it. It was a feeling. It was a sense of, I can't do this anymore. I can't eat meat anymore. And from that day, I stopped. And I really don't know. It was some sort of feeling came over me, maybe some sort of realization about how what I was doing was contributing to this suffering. And so I never really went backwards on that. And then as I started to meditate, I could see that, well, in meditation, I'm trying to be very peaceful. I'm trying to emerge, feelings of peace. So I could see there's a bit of a contradiction there when I'm doing activities in my life that are leading to some sort of peacelessness or suffering, and even if they are animals. So I guess it's that right for me as I started to become more of a serious person, that not a serious person, but someone that liked to meditate. I could see that it was didn't really match up, like in terms of eating meat and everything. And that was just my feeling. And so when we teach the course, we make suggestions to people to think about maybe being vegetarian, even if they're not interested in doing it completely. They might be vegetarian once a week or have some vegetarian meals, and just remembering that everything does carry vibrations. And so, but it sounds like you've been on a similar journey yourself with vegetarianism.
Yeah. Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of people about Ayurveda and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And even was it what's the gentleman's name? Would you call him a guru, or another very popular gentleman? Can't remember his name now.
Deepak
not Deepak. Another gentleman. I can't believe I've forgotten his name because I watch him all the time. It will come to me. But he was talking about the animals, how they suffer before they're slaughtered, like their life isn't pleasant. Basically, in a nutshell, their life isn't pleasant. They're restricted. They're miserable. They have fear. Violence, and then we eat that meat. And he said that meat will nourish our body in the sense of protein wise, not nourish our mind, but it of course is a building block protein wise, the meat, but we can still get proteins from vegetables. So that's another area. But he said we're consuming that meat, that animal that suffered, and that goes into our mind, how the mental state of that animal before it died.
Yeah.
And then that goes into our mind, and that hit me. It hit me.
Right. Yes.
It really resonated with me. I thought, of course. I mean,
and
I don't want that in me.
No, that's right. So it sounds like it was quite an important moment for you as well.
And the suffering of animals, and the contradictions as well. And we love animals. A lot of people, we've got our own pets. We adore animals. We would save an animal that is being tortured or suffering. But then we say, but I'm eating meat because when they died, that they were just shot with a shotgun or whatever the thing is, the pole that goes through their brain, and they die instantly. But it's not about that. It's what life did they live before that. It's the whole that it's a soul. It's a living soul, and we're eating a living soul.
Yeah, because it's quite apparent that animals have emotions. That if anyone has pets, they can see that in their pets, that they can be sad or they can be happy, or a dog is a man's best friend. I mean, I have a dog and he goes through lots of emotions. I love my dog. It's really funny. Yeah, they're amazing. And so they are going to feel that. And like you said, now it seems to be more so now that they treat them in certain ways while they're keeping them, so that they can produce more meat, or so they might give them hormones or sort of very unnatural conditions. And they suffer because of that. And I think at the end of the day, I mean, I've managed to last this long being vegetarian. I'm still alive, and I've found ways to look after my diet to get all those needs. And vegetarian food can still be very tasty. And if we put our taste buds ahead of, and not think about whether it's causing suffering, I think that whenever we do anything where there's some suffering at the expense of our wanting to satisfy some sort of desire, there's always some sort of return for that later. For me, I think, can see that there's going to be some sort of backlash from that. So
and I think it's the mass production too. Like when we think about it logically, we're not talking about a couple of chickens in a backyard here. We're talking about producing food for the world. And like you said, I mean, what are they fed? Or chickens from birth to the time it ends up on a dinner plate is something like 8 weeks, 6 or 8 weeks, and they just want it to grow fast. What do they give it? They give it other sort of bits and pieces, which I don't know the technical names for all the different bits of what medications or things they give to the animals, but it's a bit troubling, you know, when you think of it all. We're consuming that. It's something to think about, not to just mindlessly eat it.
Yeah, so well, it's good to think about all of these sorts of things, and because all the information's there now as well. I guess we never used to have as much information, but I'm quite intrigued by how many young people, like I teach at a high school, I teach year 11 and 12, and quite a few of my young people that I teach are actually going vegan, and they're very, very serious about it. And one of them said to me that apparently veganism is one of the most biggest growing political movements.
Fantastic.
So I think there's a lot more awareness about it now. And then there's the effect on the environment as well, of keeping all those animals in that way. Right. And yeah,
there's a good positive movement. That's good. And when the young ones are into it, then when they have children, I suppose that sort of philosophy goes through families too. So it looks hopeful for the future. Yeah,
it does.
In that perspective.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think so. There's definitely more awareness out there about many things, isn't there?
Absolutely. So I understand there's a couple of events coming up nationally, but we can go to the website to find out about that. Scheduled
yes,
events.
you can. Right. I wonder what they are. I should have gone and checked the website.
Oh, there's a couple.
Yeah.
Conversations on healing nature from the soul, eco yogis, another one, relax, restore, recharge, lots of different ones. Gentle exercise and meditation class, so people can find all that out on the website.
Yeah, that's right. And different retreats that are run at our retreat centres. We've got one in Melbourne, in Frankston, beautiful, great big retreat centre down there. So there's always information about types of retreats that people can book into. And then the other one is in Leura in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales, and another one in New South Wales in a place called Wilton. So yeah, those big retreat centres are often running community programs, even if they're day programs as well. So that's all on the website. And as soon as we're open, I'll let you know, and then please come along and book into a free meditation course.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing in South Australia, no retreats. South Australia's got some beautiful spots. We could plop a retreat there.
Oh, we do, don't we? Yeah, we're very blessed. We have some lovely, lovely places here. Yeah. So our new centre's in Tranmere on Glimburn Road. And I actually went to Waterfall Gully. Do you know Waterfall Gully?
Yes, I've done the walks there. It's lovely.
Yeah, that's a lovely spot too. I just went there for a little walk the other week.
You did the track, one of the tracks?
No, I didn't. It's a while since I've done that, but I just walked to where the waterfall was. And
yeah, nice.
It's just a lovely spot.
Those trails are awesome. They are. You got to get those good walking shoes on, the slip proof, because there's a lot of there's different trails, but some of the tracks are a bit rocky. It depends which one you choose.
Yes. Obviously you're experienced with this, Bianca.
My husband and I got into it a few years ago, and I was obsessed. I said, look at the piece here.
This beautiful environment.
We really got into it,
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. Oh, actually, before I let you go, you're a musician as well and composer. I wanted to quickly touch on that. That's very nice. Tell us about that.
Yes, well, I've been in the music industry my whole life. So that's been my career, but I've also been a teacher. And I started writing and recording my own music, often with other people in collaborations. I did soundtrack work, a bit of soundtrack stuff, and I've gone in all sorts of different areas. But
soundtrack for?
Soundtracks for like plays, or I did a couple of short films. Yeah, just started to get into composing for different settings, and that led to me composing more of my own music. And then I set up a label, an independent label, to be able to publish that under. And I think I've done 4 albums now, and it's all on my website. it's a wonderful journey being a musician, and my music's changed over the years because I've had lots of different interests and, you know, mingled with different musical groups and things. So it changes as art does, I suppose. And it's just a lovely, lovely thing to be able to do.
I'm always
I've usually got
interested in,
some project on the go.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always
I'm a
interested in the
pianist.
journey of musicians, how you said it changes. Of course it would, it makes sense, but it's always nice to
Mhm.
hear the music before, now, and what people are planning, because I interview a couple of musicians as well
Oh,
over the
really?
years. Yeah, well, I say a
Mm.
couple, quite a few actually. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wonderful.
yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I interrupted you. What were you saying?
Well, I just said that I'm actually a pianist. That's my
Yes.
main instrument, and that's what I was trained on. But I do collaborate with others. And one of my main collaborations is with a wonderful artist called Cindy Ann McDonald. And she's a singer, a vocalist, and a songwriter. And she's also very interested in spiritual things, and she does meditation and done a lot of spiritual learning and different courses and things. So we collaborate on projects where we use our music, I suppose, to express some of those ideas and to create an experience for the audience. So that's a very enjoyable collaboration. Hmm.
Very nice.
I'll have to let you know if we do another concert.
Yeah, and she's based in Adelaide.
She's based in Adelaide as well. Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Mm.
Might have to have you both on the show. In the
Yeah,
studio.
anytime. Yeah, anytime we're welcome to come and talk with you.
Awesome.
Mm.
Samantha, thank you so much for joining.
Absolute pleasure, Bianca.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.